Foofyhorse Plays, and today I'm going to be showing y'all some of my favorite building tips, tricks, and tools so you can turn your Minecraft creations from something like this into something like these shown on the screen. So let's get started! Alright, so the first thing I'm going to talk about is what I feel are the three most important things to keep in mind when building a Minecraft creation. Now, of course, this could vary, but just my opinion. And of course, there's a lot more that you can add on to your build than just these three things. But I'm going to be saying that probably the three most important things, in my opinion, are the walls, floor, and light sources. Now, just by changing these things, your creation can look a lot better. But of course, that's my opinion, and there's a lot of more tips out there to help your builds look their best. So I'm going to start first by talking about the walls of your creation. Now, the walls shouldn't be very plain, because when you just have plain walls, I mean, it can sometimes look good, especially if you're going for a more realistic build. It can look good, especially with the wood types. It does look better when you just do, like, very plain, but I don't usually like to use this when doing my builds and such. So, now, one way that you can make really cool walls is by combining blocks that you wouldn't think normally would go together. So let's take a look at some combinations that I have over here. So as you can see, if you use Skulk, and that's not Skulk, that's Calite. But if you use Calite and Skulk, you can make this really, really cool pattern of a wall, kind of almost like a space themed, if you think about it, using the Skulk as like the night sky. So I just think this looks really, really cool for saying that these two you wouldn't think normally would go together. But now another wall type that I did make is stone and magma and Skulk on top of it all. Makes this really cool wall. I just feel like it'd be like a really cool like fantasy cave or something really cool like that. And it looks amazing at nighttime when the magma glows. So I just think this is really cool. But of course, not all your builds are going to be fantasy. So if you're looking for a more realistic build, go with dark oak, calite, and dripstone maybe, and make this really neat sort of pattern for your wall. Now, of course, the thing to take from this is just experiment with many different types of blocks to make a really cool combination. So now let's move on to the next item, which is your floors. Now your floors, unlike your walls, you want them to be a little more plain, so that way it kind of matches nice with the walls. So I usually like to use spruce planks, dark oak planks, or birch planks when using wood types. And if I'm going for something that's not wood, I usually will pick diorite, polished diorite, block of quartz, or wool, because you might think that some of these are very simple, but sometimes the simpler the floor, the better. But now that's not always the case, because especially if you're doing a fantasy build, you might want a little more of an extravagant flooring, like if you're going for a fantasy cave or a fantasy lair, or say a secret base, you might want to go for something a little more just crazy and exuberant. I especially like this. This gives me the feeling of secret vault or secret base. But so just really experiment again, like with the walls. Just experiment to find what looks right. And honestly, the biggest thing is that just experiment and find what looks the best for your builds. Now, the last thing I'm going to be talking about is lighting. So we're going to make it kind of dark out. Now, as much as I like torches, redstone torches, and soul torches, and lanterns and soul lanterns, as much as they can look cool for some builds, I prefer solid blocks of light, like the sea lantern glowstone or redstone lamp, because these can be well hidden, whether that's under carpet, in trap doors, on the walls or the ceiling. So these I just like to hide my light sources because then it's not really all that noticeable, and then you can focus on the rest of the build, whereas with torches and lanterns, you can't really do that. Now, of course, if you want lights to switch on and off, go with redstone lamps, because you can put daylight sensors. Is my favorite way to make this happen, but you can just make a whole bunch of stuff with that. And also, with sea lanterns and glowstone, it's fun to make little illusions. But really, it's really simple to make the illusion if you can see. But it's just super fun. Fun way to trick people, trick your friends, or whoever. Now, that is it for the 3 main parts of a build. Now, we're going to move on to my favorite tools to use when doing a build. So, let's get right into that. Alright, let's make it daytime again, because now I'm going to show what my favorite tools are to use when building cool creations. The first one we're going to take a look at is the Debug Stick. Now, I especially like to use this when making stairs, because I mean, you know it's frustrating when your stairs never line up. I mean, you could just do it. If you use the stairs correctly, you can get it right eventually, but it's just a lot easier to take the Debug Stick, because with the Debug Stick, not only can you change what way certain blocks are facing. Now, this does only work with blocks like stairs or walls, blocks that you can change the hitbox of, or like fences as well. Now, you can choose its shape, which is what I usually use all the time. But you can also change if it's waterlogged or not. You can change what way it's facing, and what half it is. Basically, you can flip the stairs if needed be. But other way to do this, if you're trying to make a really cool looking, like, I don't really know, but say you're trying to make the stairs do the right thing, but they just don't. They don't line up. You can use a Debug Stick to change that, and not that way. You can use either the shape, or you can use the facing to change which direction it's facing. So this is very useful. Now, keep in mind that when the block gets updated, say you place a block next to it, then the block will change. So do keep that in mind, that the block will change. So let's do that. Okay. Another way you can use this is you can do it with walls. If you want to change the hitbox like I did right here, I'll show that what you did is like selected west, and then or you can do east. You can do low, or let's see, I clicked the wrong button. Sorry. You can do low, tall, or none, which is what I chose for these. So that can be very useful in building if you do get annoyed with the ways that stairs and walls work together. Now, the next thing we're going to be showcasing, I call it a tool, and now it's not technically a tool, but it's the banner, because there's so many ways you can use it. Like, you can make curtains on windows, and you can just make so many patterns that really, the possibilities are endless. There's so many patterns, so I do like to use these a lot for making lots of different things. So make sure to try it out. There's so many banner patterns online. You can make letters, flags, or even symbols. So I would definitely try to use banners in some situations where you need that little more exact detail. Now, the almost to last thing, the second to last thing, second to last thing we're going to be talking about is the barrier block, which not only is useful when trying to make gravity items float or things like that. Like, as you can see, you can do this, and then it will be standing. Now, do keep in mind that whenever you do take away the blocks, it still falls. But these are really cool blocks to use, or if you don't want people going into an area, and it works with any gravity block to keep it up, but if you don't want people going in a certain way. You can also use it to write secret messages, which is a fun little Easter egg as well. But the last use that I thought that could be very useful is if you're making like a little maze or secret base. Now, I know this isn't a maze, but if you make a secret base or a maze, then people can't jump and they can't look over it to see where they are. So that might be a good thing to keep in mind next time that you're making a secret maze and you don't want people looking through it. Now the last thing that we are going to be talking about in this video is probably the hardest item to get out of them all, because with debug sticks and barriers, you can just type in the give command and you can be given it. But the next thing we're going to be talking about, and the last, is invisible item frames. Where did I place it? Okay, I placed it there. Now, these are completely invisible. So as I placed it and stuff, it's completely invisible, which can be super cool if you want to make smaller versions of player heads, or if you want to make little tiny flags, or if you want to make phones on top of blocks. Because when you combine banners with shields, then you place up there, you can place it up there, and then look at that. So this is a really cool building tool, but it's gotten through this complicated command that I'm showing up on screen. So I still have to copy and paste it because it's so complicated. But it is a really cool building tool, especially if you wanted to make a table with stuff on top of it. So so that is it for today's video. Now if you want to see more like building tips and tricks, or maybe even furniture hacks, then make sure to like this video and comment down below what you want to see. And do you guys like me doing a lot more creative mode stuff? Because I would love to show you guys like building and stuff, but honestly that's just up to you guys. So make sure to leave a comment down below what you want to see next on this channel. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see ya in the next one.